On May 21st, 1994, the first GMO product, pictured up here, the Flavor Saver, became available on the market. It was modified to stop the production of polygalacturonase, which is an enzyme that causes tomatoes to soften. Now, with this new technology, the tomato has a longer shelf life and an improved quality of flavor. Following right after the Flavor Saver came many new GMO products that were available to consumers, such as summer squash, corn, canola, and potatoes. With this new wave of foods, consumers started growing awareness on GMOs, which only led to more division. Some consumers started to welcome the benefits of GMOs and increase research on them, while others started to worry about their health risks, transparency from companies, and their impact on the environment. In 2003, golden rice, a GMO made to help vitamin A deficiency, was made. Golden rice produces beta carotene, which is a plant pigment that converts vitamin A into the body. The creation of this GMO aided in improving people's vision, immune systems, and mucous membranes. In late 2003, the European Union, also known as the EU, officially required labels on GMOs. Their regulation focused on key points including traceability, labeling, and inspections for all genetically modified items sold to consumers. From the late 2000s to now, many products have been genetically modified, such as the apple and the salmon, and are now available in stores to purchase. The National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Standard has required that since 2002 that bioengineered food must have information on their packaging indicating that their food has been genetically modified in some way. Overall, our knowledge on GMOs is constantly changing as technology advances. It's important to know the history of GMOs and to understand the positives and negatives of this unique method of engineering.
Next, we will be describing the basic steps of genetic modification. First is identifying and isolating a gene of interest. When making a GMO, it is important to separate a gene that will be beneficial for the GMO that is being made. In this case, for our rainbow orange, we will be removing the VCMYBA from the skin of a blueberry to the oranges to interact with the orange's carotenoid and anthocyanin. This gene will allow the orange's skin to turn rainbow. When making a GMO, scientists use vectors like plasmids and Cas9 as a system of delivery that replicates and expresses the DNA sequence being inserted into the host cell. While the DNA is in the host cell, it starts to make a copy of the DNA until the desired trait of the DNA is implanted into the newly GMO. Soon after using vectors, the scientists will insert the gene into the host organism. When inserting the DNA sequence into a host cell, a vector has to be introduced. Once the host cell has taken it up, the scientists will select the organisms that have taken the newly desired gene. The last step will be selecting and growing successful modifications. When the DNA of an organism has been inserted, copied, and delivered to the organism, the next step will be selecting the cell that has taken up the trait better so the scientists can start developing and growing them into the wanted organism and or product.
The rainbow papaya virus started in 1940 Hawaii. By the 1990, it had reached almost every part that grows papaya. The virus spread through regions where papaya was grown and production fell 50% between 1993 and 2006. Researchers at the University of Hawaii inserted viral genes into the papaya to impart the PRV resistance. Within 2 years of production approval, GM papaya accounted for more than half of papaya production. 10 years later, GMO papaya accounted for more than 90% of its production to saving families and farmers.
Secondly, corn is one of the most widely grown crops in the United States, and much of it is genetically modified. GMO corn, such as Bt corn, is engineered to resist insect pests and tolerate herbicides. Bt corn produces a protein that is toxic to specific insects, but safe for humans, pets, and other animals. This reduces the need for chemical insecticides while still protecting the crop. Although some GMO corn ends up in processed foods and drinks, most of it is used as animal feed for livestock like cows and poultry.
The last example is the golden rice. The golden rice is a new type of rice that contains beta carotene, that is a plant pigment that the body converts into vitamin A. Scientists use genetic engineering and add beta-carotene to the grain. The beta-carotene is a golden rice which was made possible by the addition of two new enzymes, identical to the beta-carotene found in green, leafy, and yellow-colored vegetables, orange-colored fruit, and even in many vitamin supplements and food ingredients.
We believe that GMOs are not only safe to eat, but can improve your health as well. They also improve the economy, making food cheaper and more accessible, simultaneously improving farm incomes and global food security. GMOs work to help lower prices. GMOs can be modified to naturally rebuke bugs and lead to less pesticide use, making the overall price cheaper. Disease and drought-resistant plants modified by GMOs would need less environmental resources like water and fertilizer. Factoring costs like pesticide, water, and fertilizer out of farming makes the overall price cheaper. When it arrives at stores, it costs much less. More food has reduced prices and longer shelf life. Longer shelf life can be one of the benefits of GMO foods, and prices can be reduced because of less pesticide use and prevention of diseases. Genetically modified plants can also grow faster. Because of faster growth, less resources used, longer shelf life, and such, prices are brought down. All these things can lower prices by 15 to 30%, aiding to stop poverty.
Even though GMOs have many benefits, there are also some risks and concerns. One worry is about the environment. For example, using GMO crops that are resistant to weed killers can lead to more chemical use, which might harm insects like bees or damage soil. There's also a chance that GMO plants could mix with wild plants and reduce plant variety in nature. Some people feel that changing the genes of living things is unnatural and may have unknown effects in the future. Another concern is that few companies control most of the GMO seeds. This can make it harder for smaller farmers to compete and afford seeds. While GMOs can help with food production, it is important to use them carefully and make sure they are safe for people and the planet. GMOs can help to improve society by helping farmers grow more food with fewer resources, which can reduce hunger in poor or drought affected areas. This will lead to less global poverty.
Some may make the argument that genetically modified organisms have harmful side effects and are dangerous to consume. But it is quite the contrary. GMOs are safe to eat. There are no side effects to GMOs that are in your stores. The way GMOs are created allows scientists to know precisely which new proteins are produced in a plant. Scientists perform tests to make sure that these proteins are not allergens. This is called allergenicity testing. This testing is always a part of the process for developing GMOs. The FDA checks all foods. FDA regulations ensure that food derived from GMOs are safe to eat. Not only are they handled with care to be sure that they are not jeopardizing people's health, they are also used to increase health benefits. GMOs can be used to increase nutrition, such as enhancing vitamin A in golden rice. And foods like potato that caused a cancer risk when fried now are safer to eat due to GMOs lowering levels of acrylamide, which brings the cancer risk down. They reduce levels of asparagine and sugars, so they are less likely to lead to acrylamide when cooking with potatoes. We believe that genetically modified organisms aid our food to make them more plentiful, accessible, and healthy, and are working in the favor of our world.